Hello and welcome to The Real Deal. Now, we consider the teens trying to blow their beans genre a staple of modern cinema. But there was a time when such a thing was unthinkable, until one little Canadian movie broke the mould.
And broke the mould it did.
Absolutely.
Porky's is yours to own as of this week, and here is a cheeky clip.
Save your energy, you're gonna need it.
Okay.
Teens blowing their beans, indeed. Porky's, yours to own. Is that a good thing, Joe Forrester?
Now, I'm aware that it's maybe a little bit crass in the intro there, but I think that's quite suitable for the film. Firstly, basically, what Porky's is, it's widely considered a classic, so I am going to tread carefully, as carefully as I can throughout this review. It's basically a bunch of lads in the 50s trying to get their end away. There's even a character in it called Meat. I wonder why he could be called that, and that's about as highbrow as the humour gets, to be honest. It is a precursor to stuff like American Pie and Superbad and all these teen films we've seen in the past few years, and certainly the fact that it started that very successful and I think very important genre, even with a peeking at the girls in the shower scene.
That's the scene I remember.
Yeah, well,
it's so weird.
Exactly, it did feel sort of a bit late night seedy TV mainly. The fact that it created this great genre, that's brilliant, but I mean, I had some problems with it, I must say.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, I watched this film years and years and years ago, when I was far too young maybe to watch this film, and I thought it was really funny. Maybe I wasn't at the age in which I could really get all those jokes, but I definitely remember it. I think it is one of those ones that if you like American Pie and you like Superbad, you will enjoy this, because it was filmed in the 80s, is that right?
Yeah, 82, yeah.
So it's filmed in the 80s but set in the 50s, and it's boys getting into trouble.
Yes, it is boys getting into trouble. The problem is you don't like the boys. If I hadn't have seen American Pie and Superbad, if it was 1982, then I might have gone to the cinema with my mates and thought, this is great, they're like us, but they're not like us. To be honest, they're not very sympathetic. I mean, Porky's, the eponymous Porky's, is a brothel. That's where they try and go. They try and basically sleep with ladies of the night. Including
Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall is a teacher in it as well. Don't know what this says about women, but basically in order to find out what Kim Cattrall is like as a person, all one of the characters has to do is invite her into the equipment cupboard. I mean, come on. It's not a very positive portrayal of women. It certainly feels, and I think this is why films like American Pie and Superbad are so important, because it's actually the girls running circles around the guys, which, as we know, is pretty realistic. And those, I mean, let's face it, lads, come on. We do our best, but yeah. Those guys are sympathetic. I recognise them as me and my friends when we were younger. These guys aren't. It's very misogynistic. The women characters are half-dimensional. They're nothing. They're just caricatures who are there for the men to use. And yeah, I think, as I say, it's a precursor to these teen films. But
what we have to remember is that it is a classic for a reason. So back in the 80s, when this first came out, it was revolutionary in its own right. It pushed the boundaries. It was kind of not porn, but edging towards talking about porn.
Yes.
Which is something that we hadn't seen before. And for that, you need to remember all of that background to do with it, because that's what put it into context. We've seen a lot of stuff since, and we can make up our mind because the genres have expanded in their own right. So I think there are lots of pros and cons around this film, but if you're interested in cinema, you're interested in film, it is something that you should go and see. Whether or not you like it or not, I think is another question.
I think if you'd like to know why American Pie and Superbad and things like that exist, then go and watch it. Once you get the picture after half an hour, turn it off and watch them.
But let's have a look at what else is on offer with the DVD.
Well, very interestingly actually, and I did like this, there's a Porky's Through the Peephole documentary. That's good. You're watching that anyway, aren't you? Porky's Through the Peephole documentary on the DVD extras from Bob Clark, who's the director. And he actually made his name as a horror director. So it's very interesting about the runaway success of this film that they all just thought was going to be just B-movie fodder, which is what it looks like, but was a huge success. Remains the greatest, the most successful Canadian movie ever made. Still holds that title to this day. Cruel indictment on the Canadian film industry, in my opinion, but there you go. And it gave the world Kim Cattrall and that sort of teens coming-of-age genre.
Okay, so what is the real deal on the home entertainment release of Porky's, Joe?
Listen, I'm going to upset people because it is a classic, but 2 out of 5 for me. But as I say, it's an important part of filmic history, so it's worth seeing just for that.
The boy in the locker room. Oh, it's turned me on.
We'd like to show you more of the locker room, but this kind of physical education just isn't taught.
So that's the real deal on classic teen flick Porky's. It's out on DVD and Blu-ray right now.
But what we want to know is, what's your favourite coming-of-age movie? Bex, what do you reckon?
It has to be something from the John Hughes collection,
Okay.
and for me it is 16 Candles. Molly Ringwald at her best. She's at that awkward teenage phase of her life and she's just looking for love, as we all were at 16.
Well, I'll tell you what, mine has to be something from the Ice Cube collection.
Surprise, surprise.
He gave an Oscar-worthy performance in 22 Jump Street recently. And but arguably the best film he's ever been in was the fantastic Boys in the Hood. I recommend you watch it. Let us know what you think as well on our YouTube channel, Facebook page, or you can give us a tweet at The Real Film Show. Thanks for watching.